Hello my lovely listeners, I am recording this from the park today, so if you hear parrots or pigeons or other birds, I just have a big pigeon sat next to me. Actually, I was walking in the park today and there was lots of people. I was in Japanese garden, a part of a park that is really beautifully made to resemble a Japanese park with beautiful flowers and a waterfall, and there also was a peacock. And I know that animals and children are attracted to me. I know that I've seen that many times, that they just look at me and they always happy to see me. Most of pets, most of dogs, animals, cats usually, and also birds. And I was looking at the peacock, beautiful blue, the tail was just fully grown and long, and he had his tail down, and there was lots of people taking pictures, and I just stood there and I smiled and I looked at the beautiful peacock and I was talking to him to open his tail. It's more of a sign that I can communicate with the nature and than anything else, because it doesn't have to be for me to show up that he is beautiful. I can already see that he was beautiful, but I just wanted this sign to show me, and he did. He opened the tail and he turned around and kind of showing us his back, and everyone was taking photos, and I was just smiling, thinking, thank you for doing this. We had a contact with peacock. I think everyone that were there was taking picture. Everyone was taking pictures, was kind of trying to capture this on the camera, and for me it was more almost like an exercise, because I already can feel the nature, and I think that nature understands that, and I know that. And saying now this, the sun comes out from behind the clouds, so and I know these are little signs, and you can or people can laugh and say, no, like, how can you make something so insignificant being a sign for you? Well, you can make it as much as you want to. What you believe and what you feel, that's what it is. And I believe when you start seeing the signs that the universe and nature is giving you, or even objects, and when you start observing them and seeing them, the more you start observing them, the more it's a sign, the more you can see them basically. And it's never going to show you anything bad. That's not nature. And maybe at this moment that this happens, you can think that this is bad. Or for me, for example, there is this certain type of bird that when I see it, and I usually see it with something to do with work, so before job interview or something like that, usually before job interview. And this little bird with orange tummy, I see it if the interview, or if it didn't go well, or I didn't get the job. And usually that's when I know that this is not gonna happen. But obviously it does not mean anything bad. It just means that this type of job wasn't for me, or this type of position wasn't for me. And I have applied for another corporate job, and I don't know the outcome. I didn't have interview. I have seen two of those birds. So I always try to think, maybe it doesn't mean that, maybe it's about something else. Maybe it's giving me another message that I cannot see, and I put whatever meaning I was thinking to this bird, and this is what it means. But obviously it's not written black on white. We have to give it a meaning. and we have to feel the meaning, and we have to know and be sure of the meaning, and then that's what it is. No one is going to find meaning for us. I mean, obviously there are some fortune tellers and people who are reading from the tea leaves or a grain of rice or the clouds or anything else. These are all elements, and I do believe that our energy and the vibration and everything else that helps us understand our lives can tell us things, but specifically it's us, as if we were already living a couple of lives, and depending on the choices we take, we jump on another lifetime or this lifetime. You know, it's about the choices you make. And you can almost never know exactly if this choice was right or it wasn't, because this is never going to become visible straight away. I mean, with some choices, maybe if you, I don't know, eat something and then you have a stomach pain in 10 minutes, then maybe you shouldn't have eaten this, and this is kind of quite clear. But also maybe the other thing that you didn't eat would be even worse. I don't know, things like this. Again, these are just meanings and things that we don't know. We think and we try always take the best choice and always go with something that resonates best with us, or that we think we deserve, or that we think we would like to have, because having that or being this or doing that or being with someone is going to make our lives better, more happy, more comfortable. We achieve something that we were always trying to achieve. It's our ambition. It's kind of makes us who we are, and we think that, and we give it this meaning, and then that's how we desire this. And then I believe that also deep down, very often, we do know that it's not good for us. We do know that that's not the highest choice that there should be. But we maybe say, no, that's just a silly, just this nagging feeling, and we kind of don't listen or don't want this to be true. And that's why maybe sometimes if you feel like playing, you can go and ask nature, but also sometimes you see the signs and you know what the sign means, but you're either not ready for this or you try to give it a different meaning. And I was just talking to my friend, and she is kind of fell off with another friend of hers, and there are some signs that maybe this other friend is trying to reach out. Well, the signs are always social media, so it's kind of a bit tricky and a bit shady. If someone likes your story or even comments on the story or shares your story, whatever, does this mean that they try to reach out, or as if there wasn't a clear way of saying, hey, I really miss you? That would be the clear way. But we do have social media, and likes and comments and shares kind of talk as a talking or language between the lines. So we do know that if someone watches your story or likes your story or is always there on social media, does not mean that they would necessarily want to be in your life. Is that just that they just trying to kind of a little bit maybe control, maybe still have an insight in you? Yes, it's quite tricky in social media setup when you don't actually speak to this person, or this person is not in your life anymore. But anyway, the sign that the friend of mine has seen was, this alphabet macaroni or alphabet pasta, it's called, that each pasta is shaped in one of the letters. So she said she was thinking about this friend, and the pasta shaped with the letter that this friend name starts with, sort of flew out on the counter, and then the next letter was the letter that my friend's name starts with. So very subtle, and I think definitely very energetically charged signs that is just a sign. Does this mean that my friend is going to reach out to this person? I don't know. Slowly, once those signs maybe pile up, or that there will be more signs, and also my friend is ready, then maybe she will reach out. But I think it's playful and it's fun, and it makes you more attuned with the nature if you observe things like this. And I think it's beautiful because we are part of nature, and we should be listening to it. We should be as much friends as we can be with nature. And for me, there was a painful experience again. I even started recording podcasts, and when I saw that, I was just so livid. The trees on my street were being cut again. I learned something. I learned that this is called pollarding in English, when you cut all the branches basically off the tree. So you cut all the branches that leaves the tree with no leaves whatsoever. And apparently, because it has been done when the tree was young, that's how you have to continue doing it every couple of years. The issue, well, a lot of issues with that I had, was that the trees were fully grown, and something like this you should do in sort of very early spring, or kind of maybe late winter, when there are no trees on the tree, leaves on the tree. So I saw that being done again. I know I have one episode about this, and really I'm so passionate about this. I went again, I spoken to the men with saw. There was 3 men, and both of them English, and I had the discussion, and I was trying to defend those trees, and the trees were terrified. I could feel that they were terrified. They were so scared, and I did save one tree. So because the tree was so close to me, and because I did some research, because that was the second day I was trying to fight for the men not to cut all the leaves from the trees. Because I've done some research, I was kind of I knew what I was talking about more, and it's really hooray for internet for that you can go and educate yourself on this and read about different techniques that the trees can be trimmed, and what else can be done. Again, I am not a specialist, but I feel the trees, and I'm so passionate about this. And I know those trees will grow back, but it was just another thing that kind of this week was really dampened my spirit, and I was very low energetically. That's why I'm walking in the park barefoot on the grass, to ground myself, to calm myself down, and to be with nature, to listen to the birds is very good for you. Listening to the birds, when birds are singing, it means there is no danger. The birds are there, the birds are happy. When there is danger, birds are quiet, because they are trying to obviously avoid the danger, so not make any noise. That's what I've heard. So people many years ago, in ancient times, I guess, they were feeling safe when they had birds singing around them, and it's really calming the soul, and it's calming nervous system, and I really need that at this time, to calm my nervous system down. I believe there are big changes happening, and they have been for some time. But the more attuned you are, the more you let your sensitivity out, the more sometimes overwhelmed you can be. And with those energetic changes, people, and just everything that's happening around, it can kind of make you feel exhausted. I don't know if you feel like this. If you do, I do encourage you to come and just walk barefoot around the park and listen to the birds if you can, or find any piece of ground And last sign that I've seen today, and it was again about the trees. Just now I was passing, and I am in this park in London that there's lots of exhibition, and I guess like arts, different art gallery, or just like pop-ups. And when I was walking, I saw something that first kind of caught my eye, and actually there were just dead tree trunks, and one of them, the inside of the tree was painted gold, and the other two on both sides just bare dead tree trunks, and on the branches that were remaining with no leaves and kind of very dark tree trunk were stones, big stones. So it was like sculpture, but and I wanted to come and see it, but when I really saw what it was, two trees with those stones in between the branches, and another tree fully dead with inside painted gold, to me it spoke exactly of how I felt when I was fighting for the tree survival. It was about money, it was about recklessness, it was about people always being most important, people being more important than nature, even when you can think about other ways to coexist with nature, not paying attention to the fact that nature helps us, that the tree help us. They take CO2 and they give us oxygen, they give us shade in a very hot days, and just recklessness and just lack of awareness, and really kind of blind trust in authorities that sometimes or very often don't care, and the only thing they care about is the job that they have to make, and they have to make it with limited resources, and therefore they just gonna make a half-ass job, pardon my French. So they will not look into how we can do it better. It's either no tree or tree being polar dead, because that's the sort of argument I've heard. We can either cut this tree completely, or we can do it in this way. So it's almost as choice as dying or leaving with just a trunk like that. And this is exactly, to me, what those trees with the stones between the branches symbolize to me. Just heaviness and sadness and darkness, and the weight of humanity that trees have to endure. Trees were there before us many years when no one even thought about humans. Trees are the one of the longest living organisms, and we came here at some point, and we are now the masters of the planet, and we just make sure that we want to make sure that there is health and safety, which is obviously just one thing for the humans. And I don't even have to say that, but I say that just for the sake of it. I understand that trees sometimes are in a way that they can collapse, and you have to, that's what the tree doctors are for, and someone who is actually very careful and loves tree. And the person who was cutting tree, I had the conversation with him, and he did seem like he couldn't say, and I even said to him, you cannot say what you really think about this. You work for the authority who pays you to do a certain job, who told you to cut everything off. And he did say he was trying to say something, that there is maybe a better way. The authority is so scared for health and safety, which sometimes we all know goes mad a little bit, as if removing everything so that you don't trip, as if humans didn't have any brains to think about their own safety. So the conversation with him was, he was just doing this for money, and he knew that wasn't 100% right, but he couldn't argue with authority because that's what he was being paid for. And I've spoken also to the authority, the man kind of above, and that's what he said to me. We have 50,000 trees and we don't have enough resources. So I had to take it. I did say that I don't agree to that. And this is again metaphor of the world that we are living in. I believe that there's definitely a better option, and this could be done so there was a balance between what human needs and what the tree needs. And definitely one of this would be cut it earlier in the spring when there wasn't so many leaves. That's as if you've taken the power, the solar power for the tree completely, so, and just left the tree exposed with no way to get food in. And I felt it was really sad. So definitely the trees with stones and the tree painted gold inside. I mean, I don't know what the artist wanted to say through that, but this is what I understood, that people will always be more important, that people do that for money, and that trees bear this all. But there are people like me and many more much better people who fight for it, who take care of the trees, who take care of nature, and probably do much more than me, who just talks about it or goes and shouts at men with saws and then goes home and cries her heart out. But I do whatever I can. So the lesson is also to the fact that you are important, but you are also not the most important, and you are part of something bigger. And taking focus of yourself a little bit and directing it through a cause that you care about, through something that you are really passionate about, in a way can also help you. And try to do that, because nature and earth needs us very much, as well as other people obviously as well. This was also a metaphor for me, for other people who are helpless, who cannot help themselves, who are being unnecessarily cut, and how to support them. So yes, a little bit about the signs and a little bit about trying to talk about things that could be changed, hopefully. And I do hope that, again, this podcast helped you a little bit and you do feel a little bit uplifted, although talking about the tree cutting, I don't know. But the passion makes you who you are. The passion makes you a human being. So keep there, keep going, and I speak to you soon. Bye bye.